Hello and welcome to Zasaa and a Zasaa Zooms In. I am so excited today because I have got my big sister here. And do you know what? One would think that because she's my big sister, she would have been here since and that I would have been able to get her, but she's so busy. Doesn't even have time for me. But anyway, today she's made the time. So please welcome my sister, Ene. This is Ene Obi. And we are going to be talking, what are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking, first of all, thank you so much for having me today, okay? And I'm not even going to respond to your comment. I'm just going to let that one slide because we have so much good stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about lives, the seasons of lives chapters.
Okay, now I specifically wanted you on here because, well, I wanted you on anyway, but I was really keen to get you on because you've done something which, funny enough, I had a show with one of my other friends who had done something similar. But it's like, I don't know whether it's something in the water, but I don't know. But how old were you when you made this decision?
55.
At 55, you changed career completely. Okay, so please give us a bit of history. So what were you doing before you changed career?
So I'd worked in, let me take a step back if that's okay. So I had grown up in Nigeria and everything I'd done so far in my life had been scripted, if you like, right? Yeah. I had followed the path. But something told me that there could be a different path.
When did something tell you that? Was that right from the start?
Right from the beginning.
Okay.
I can't tell you when it started because I don't know that it was never not there.
Okay. But why did you not follow the path then if you knew it was there?
Because I didn't believe that there was a path.
Okay, all right, continue.
I thought maybe it was just you're not sure, and everybody that has gone before you has followed this proven path and it's worked.
Yeah.
So who are you? To not come along and say, I want to do something different.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You're who?
The audacity.
Sheer audacity. So I think I'd always had an inkling that there was something more. I didn't know. And then also, I didn't know what that path was. So I couldn't even say I want to do this alternative path and then we could look into it. There was no path.
Yeah.
Apart from in my head.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'd gone to university, got a degree, came here, got a job, and then I was fortunate enough to get quite good jobs. So that then made it like, well,
what
all the
are you
more
looking
reason
for?
why,
Yeah, exactly.
I worked for really great organizations. I worked for some of the best organizations in the world, to be honest.
What was your profession?
HR. I worked in human resources, but I worked for organizations such as Shell, Visa, AstraZeneca, HSBC, Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs,
yeah,
okay?
Okay.
So, I say that so that we can see. You have to see the kind of
change.
The other side. And then I started to have children, and then of course I have two sons. As they grew, I got even busier with raising them. So I threw my life into them, as well as having a career in human resources. It wasn't until my youngest son was in his final year at university.
Okay.
And I think that's probably, I don't think that's unrelated.
Yeah.
Also, my mother had died the year before. I also don't think that's unrelated.
Yeah.
And something happened to me at work. I had an awakening. I was in a room, probably, I don't know, a quarter of the size of this room. And I was in a meeting. There were 6 colleagues in the room, and I shared an update to a very senior business leader who had put forward this proposal. And I said to him, we need more time to really look into this. And he'd been waiting for a response in his defense for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
But this would have meant a significant change to the entire organization of over 100,000 people. So this was not going to be even 6 months. It would have taken a good couple of years. So anyway, he went, let's just say he wasn't happy. And out it came, and he was shouting and he was screaming and he was telling me exactly what he thought of me, of my team, of how long it had taken. You're ridiculous. Your team is ridiculous. I can't believe I have to wait this long. I want an answer now. And now here's the thing. I'd worked in human resources for a long time. having, shall we say, interesting conversations with business leaders was not
Unusual.
unusual.
Yeah.
But something happened on this particular day, Tunuke. I looked at him and his voice went, it was getting louder and louder. And all I could think of was, I'm not doing this today. Today is not the day for this, And I looked out of the window, very small room, small window. I looked out of the window and I saw, it was like I saw my life flash in front, literally like going past in the clouds of this window. I saw my life, I saw my pension, I saw my benefits, I saw my car allowance, I saw the work I had done. But then again, from the other side, I saw my dreams that I hadn't even had the audacity to go after. And I just said, not today. So I got up and I left.
In the middle of the shouting?
In the middle of the shouting.
Oh, wow.
I got up, I pushed my chair back, pulled myself up, and I was like, goodbye.
And did you return?
No.
Well, so you didn't even hand in your notice or... Oh,
and I'm
please,
not
please,
suggesting,
please.
I'm not
I love
suggesting
that.
to anybody who listens to this that they should do that. It's my story I'm telling.
But
It's not advice.
I love that because that was like, it's enough. I'm not taking this anymore. I value myself, and if you don't value me, well, it's like you are standing up for yourself. And I agree. I mean, maybe you shouldn't do it that dramatically, but I get that because I think there gets to a point where you suddenly realize that, nah, you know what I mean? I'm not, because I always say it. You teach people how to treat you. I don't know who said it. It's somebody else's quote, but you teach people how to treat you. And I feel like a lot of time as women, we don't do that.
A lot of the time as women, we don't do that. And especially when we don't value ourselves. How can I teach somebody how to treat me when I don't treat myself?
Thank you.
Like
Yes.
I matter.
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. Okay, so you walked out that day, and then what? Did you then immediately start what you're doing now? We haven't even told them what you're doing yet, but continue the story.
I wish, Tinuke, I wish I could say, oh yes, and then the next day I went off into the sunset with my dream in my hand. No. I was in bed for 3 days, first of all. I couldn't tell anybody what I had done. I couldn't tell anybody I wasn't going back to work. I couldn't. I was in bed for 3 days.
Did you tell your husband?
I didn't tell my husband. My husband was the last to hear. It took me about a week to tell my husband.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not. Again, my story.
I love it.
My story.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to hear the voice of reason.
Yeah.
I genuinely did. I thought I have done reason up until this point.
Yeah.
Right now I'm going to do me. I'm
Yeah.
going to do, let's just see what the dream is. I'm going to allow myself to be frivolous.
Yeah.
And that word has a negative connotation. In this context, I don't mean it frivolously. I mean it like I'm going to find what that thing is that's burning inside of me, and I'm going to give it a chance because I owe it to myself. Because here's the thing, on a serious note now, I didn't want to get to a point where I met my maker and I said, I didn't even try.
And I think that is so key because I think there's so many of us that have regrets. And they always say that people on their deathbed, they have the regrets. Oh, I wish I had done this. I wish I had even just tried. So, and there's nothing wrong with trying and failing. At least you tried, but a lot of people don't even try. So, yeah.
I think not trying is failing. I don't think there's any such thing as trying apart from not even trying. Because I think if you try, I do. Yeah. I think if you try, you learn.
Yes.
If you don't try, you fail because there's nothing you've
nothing.
You've given up on yourself.
If you don't try, you fail.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I agree with you actually. I never looked at it like that.
So I was in bed for 3 days. The office called the next day and said, they had heard by this time what. And I was asked if I wanted to raise a case against
him,
the senior business leader. You know what my response was?
No.
Give him a raise.
Oh. Okay.
Obviously, that was actually a frivolous response. But what's the point I made was, the point I was making was, he helped me to do something that I didn't have the nerve
To do.
for so long. So I have nothing but admiration for the fact that he did what he did. He kind of, I think he was a tool in the toolbox of life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't have a choice. He did what he was meant to do for me.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so you stayed in bed for 3 days. We don't have a lot of time, so we have to fast forward some things. I'm just saying.
We have to keep talking. Because
I'm just saying. So let's not stay too long in one place. Okay. So
and then I got up and I started to. I went on courses.
Okay.
I went on courses. I listened to podcasts. Interestingly, what I haven't said was that this was January 2020. So what happened a few weeks later? The whole world came to a stop.
Yeah.
So that was also on my side. So then I was at home, my family, everybody was at home. And so I spent time, the point I'm trying to make is I spent time getting to know myself and getting to find out what this thing is that was burning within me.
You see, and this is, this my rock your own gorgeous. I've told you guys, you have to know who you are. You have to take time to do the inner work, find out who you are, what you like, what, makes you tick, etc. before you can move forward. Because it's like I always say on here that we've spent so long being told who we are by other people, what we should do, and if we don't take the time out to actually do the work to find out who we are, what we like, we're never going to follow our dreams, be who we were created to be, all of that. So yeah, do your inner work. Continue.
You've actually led me to what I do now. So what I do now, can I
Yes,
take us there?
Yes.
So what I do now is I help women like me. And I thought that women like me would be women in their 50s. Well, no. A lot of women in their late 30s are already reaching this point where they're saying, I'm not having this. A lot of my clients are in their 30s. They said, I'm not going to wait till 55 like you. No, I'm doing it now. And first of all, I used to feel insulted, but now I'm like, no, I agree. I'm not going to wait until I'm old like your age.
You are so old.
You're so
long to get there.
But now I'm like, yeah, good. So I help women like me who are looking for what the thing is that's burning within them. But why I brought us here so quickly is because where do we start? We start with, well, let's identify who you are.
Yeah.
Who are you? A lot of us really haven't taken the time to look in the mirror and say, but who am I? And what do I want?
This, I was talking to you on the way here about my daughters. I started this Rock Your Own Gorgeous thing for that very reason, because I was like, I don't want my daughters to not know. Funny enough, I started this in my 30s, so I was lucky enough to have an earlier insight. But it was more like, I was like, so I actually did it as an after school club thing to find out who you are, because I'm just like, how can you because unfortunately, if we go the traditional way, many of us will marry, have children, and then it will be after that where we start to look for who we are, because we've taken on so many roles in the lead up to, you know what I mean? So it's almost like, how about you hold on to who you are in the first place and hold that through the roles that you take. You know what I mean? The sooner you can get to know who you are, the better. So now you have something called Ziano Mind Spa. And is it a coaching? How would you describe it?
I do coaching. It's really more experiences, but I do within that is coaching. I provide experiences, workshops, events, retreats for women who are on the journey of self-discovery to then really birth the thing that is within them. That's what I do. You mentioned just now about not knowing who we are. There's something else you said. Oh, a lot of us as women, we adopt titles.
Yeah.
We're somebody's wife. We're somebody's mother. And that's sometimes who we actually think we are. Yeah. But that's just a role that you assume, and you may do it really well, but you are not born somebody's wife or somebody's mother.
It's like you're somebody's doctor. I always put it in the same
exactly,
thing. It's another, so I'm
exactly.
a teacher. Yes, I'm a teacher, but that's not who I am. It's what I do.
But here's the thing. I don't know who your audience is, but certainly in the Nigerian culture, we also adopt our job role.
Yes.
I'm a doctor.
Yes.
And that's meant to then tell you who, well...
that doesn't tell me anything about it. It tells me you have a brain, maybe.
Maybe, but so it's really about... But here's the thing, Tinuke, a lot of the time when we discover and accept
that's so key.
Who we are.
That's so key.
The light bulb goes off. We don't even need anything else. Some people, once they get that initial, that's like, boom, the light bulb moment, they're like, oh, I'm free, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I can do this on my own now. I'm good to go. Others may need a little bit more help, lots of sometimes mindset work and all that. But yeah.
But I think you're right, because within our culture, there's also, I don't know if I want to say stigma, but we're not encouraged as women to be doing this sort of thing, because in the end, we are supposed to fit into the roles that we're supposed to be in. And I know that with me in particular, Wale has had people say to him, not so much control your wife, but that's what they're implying. That
Speak to your wife.
like, you know what I mean? Like, how come you allow her to, like, I don't have a problem with that word, allow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm all for
Allow.
submitting to your husband and whatnot, but it's, I'm still a human, an individual human being that has my own desires, my own, whatever. And I think sometimes, it takes a very strong man in our community
I agree.
to allow,
agree.
I'm using the word allow, to
encourage,
to support, yes, a wife doing her own thing. And I always say that I feel that, and this is somewhat controversial, people tell me, but I feel that, you find, I don't know if you've experienced this, but there are a lot of people that I know, and I say a lot, not huge amounts, but enough, that have hit 40, 50, and then have got divorced. Or have, basically, and people are always saying, but why would you wait after 20 years of marriage? And I'm
still
like,
get it.
I'm like, because at that point you are finished doing the mothering, you finished doing the wifing, and all of a sudden you're like, where am I? And I always say that I believe that God's plan is not in the Bible. I didn't say it's in the Bible, but this is what I believe. I believe that as wives, we're helpers, and we're supposed to help our husbands to hit their destiny, right? But I think that once the husband is en route to the destiny, or even has reached the destiny, well, not that, you know what I mean, but it's en route. Then he's supposed to turn back to the wife and say, come on, darling, let me help you reach your own dreams. And I feel that most husbands don't make that move. So what you find is these old women that are resentful, they've given up their life to raise your children, to do all these things, and then suddenly they hit, and things happen to women at 40 and at 50. So something happens and we're like you said, enough. I'm not doing this anymore.
I want to put the baton in the hands of the woman. Mm-hmm. I want to not say so much that our husbands don't reach back. I want to say that we don't sometimes ask them.
You're so, because to be honest with you, where I am today is because I asked Wale. Exactly. It's almost like I made him.
Exactly.
Not, you know what I mean?
You trained Wale on how to train you, how to teach you. That's it.
But that's it. And I think, but you see, the thing is, I could do that because I knew who I was. And it comes back to this thing of knowing who you are, what you want, etc. Because you can't teach somebody how to teach you, like you said that. You can't teach somebody how to treat you if you don't know how to treat yourself, or you don't even know how you want to be treated. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Can I say something?
Of course you can. Please, feel free.
Because you asked me earlier and I didn't answer. You said, when did I tell my husband? Well, I said I told him. It was the last day. When I said last, he knew a week later. The first was my sister.
Okay.
So my husband was next. It wasn't like he was. It wasn't like he was like 20 million people next. It was my sister.
She told the whole world.
And then my husband was like, "What am I hearing on the streets?" No, my sister was first, and then my husband was a week later. And because I didn't know how to say to my husband, I don't know what my dream is. Because men, and I'm being generic here. I'm not saying all men are like this. Men tend to be quite logical. And they like to know, okay, if you're not doing A, what are you then doing?
Yes.
Men don't like I don't know, I'm just going to find myself. What where are you in the market? Do you know what I mean?
Did you lose yourself?
I'm going to find myself. So I thought, and my husband is particularly logical, right? So I thought, I can't just go and talk to him about this airy-fairy stuff. I just feel like I'm lost. But I had to, because he's my husband, and he deserved. Well, why are you in bed? Why are you not going to work?
Like, what is going on here?
So I said to him, I'm not going back to work, and I'm not going back to work. I don't know what I want to do, but I know that it's not what I've been doing before, and I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And what he said to me, I need to say this. He said to me, after a long pause, he said to me, "You've got to do what you've got to do." I need to say this on record. You've got to do what you've got to do.
That's so lovely.
And that it freed me, but it also made me feel even more, it made me feel guilty. Because I thought, do you know what I mean? Because I thought, why did you think he wouldn't understand?
Yeah.
Why did you prejudge?
Okay,
Why did you prejudge his response? Why do you think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just needed to say that.
No, but you see, and I think that's why I think we can't generalize, but we are generalizing. I think it's hard because like you said, men don't think like we think the way. But I think sometimes, I mean, I think you have a great husband, and I have a great husband.
I think I've got a great husband too.
I think we're blessed in that
Yeah,
sense that our
yeah.
husbands, even if they don't understand, they value us.
Yes.
Maybe that's
Enough to at least keep their mouth shut.
and to trust us that okay, I may not get it, but you do you.
You do you.
And when you fall, I'll be right here to catch you. You know what I mean? So those are the type of
Yeah.
husbands that, we
Yeah.
thank God that
It's
we have
true.
those
It's
husbands.
true.
Because not all husbands would be
It's
that
true.
receptive.
It's true.
So I think it's, so thank you for saying that. And thank you, Mr. Obi, for doing that. But, so now you're doing this, you're living your dream. And I'm watching you and I'm thinking, she's living her dream too much. I don't understand this nonsense. Not beefing or anything. I'm very proud of you, and it inspires me all the time. But I'm like, because it almost seems, and I know it isn't like that, but it almost seems like out of nowhere, you just came. You know what I mean? And you're literally living your dream. So tell us a little bit about, because I want to give you a bit of free promo. Good like that.
Thank you.
So just talk about.
You're not the first person to say that to me. That it seems like I came out of nowhere. You know how people say you're an overnight
success. They don't know
that took 25 years.
Exactly.
So what may not be obvious from the outside is the amount of time, effort, and I'm going to use the word money that I have spent on myself in my development in the last 4 years. I used to change my car every 3 years. My car is now 7 years old.
Can't afford it
I'm
anymore.
going to be because my money has been diverted to my personal development.
Exactly. Yeah. And why not? Who better to develop than yourself? Exactly.
I don't buy expensive handbags. I don't buy. I honestly, I'm not. I spend all our money that I have access to on my personal development. I work with coaches. I go on really, really great high ticket programs. So that's what may look like come out of nowhere. But I am living my dream life, and I don't make apologies for that. And I ask my clients not to make apologies as well.
No, but 100%. I really don't think that we should be. And I think, unfortunately, again, I think this is more of a female thing, that we are always apologizing for who we are for. But God made us who we are. As in, it's not really our choice in the end. I guess it's our choice whether we embrace who we are and we live our lives to our full, to live our lives to
our full potential.
Our full potential. Thank you. I always say my hashtag on my thing is living life in full bloom. So that's what I was about to say.
Okay,
to our full bloom. I was like, that's not English.
We would have understood. Don't worry. We would have understood.
But you know what I mean? That I think it's down to us. There's a certain, and you always have this thing. I think as Christians, again, I'm generalizing, where we're almost like always waiting for, yes, you need to pray, yes, you need, but what are you doing? They say faith doesn't stand around with his hands in his pockets.
We're waiting for what? God is waiting for us.
Yeah, exactly.
God is waiting for us, and we're waiting for God.
And God has put everything in us that we need. So it's literally about just accessing it.
Like,
that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard this thing. One of the pastors says, he talks about how we're asking God to give us a sign, and God is like, God is confused, scratching his head like, hang on, give you a sign. About a dream I put in you. That was the sign.
That was the sign. Exactly, yes. So let me see. We have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
See, time always goes.
I know.
So what will you say in 2 minutes? Well, not 2 minutes. You can use 1 minute and 30. What would you say to any woman out there who is maybe not quite where they want to be? Just speak to the ladies.
Okay.
That's your camera.
Thank you so much. So what I would say to you is that you have everything in you to be all of who you can be. If you have a dream in you, it's because you have the ability to fulfill that dream. And I would step on your toes a little bit by saying you then owe it to not just yourself, but to your maker and to the world at large.
The world is waiting for you to happen.
To then fulfill that dream. Because here is the thing, the gifts you have in you aren't actually for you. They were given to you for you to bless the world with. So this gift that Tinuke is using this wonderful platform to share her voice, to offer us the opportunity to come and share our voices, it's not for us. It's for you. So my invitation to you is to ask yourself, what do I have in me that's for the world that I'm keeping to myself?
She good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I love that. So what do you have in you that you're keeping to yourself? Don't be selfish. It's not for you in the first place. You need to give it back. And I always feel like when you do give it back, you are so fulfilled. As in, even though you might not realize that giving it away, they always say it's better to give than to receive. You know what I mean? It's almost like in giving, you receive so much more when you're living your full life.
Okay, the minute you give it away, you realize that this thing is miraculous. It goes, it gathers friends and brothers and sisters and cousins and comes straight back to you.
Fantastic. Well, we're out of time. So let us know what you think. Is there something a dream you have? Please do something about it. You can see Ene's details at the bottom. Contact her if you need to. She will take you on your way. But whatever you do, don't just let it sit dormant. Do something about it. Follow us on YouTube, please. Subscribe, and if you press the notification button, then it will let you know every time we post something. And we put other things on there that are not on here. So please do that. And rock your own gorgeous. Keep being you. Find out who you are. And we will see you next time. Ene, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
You're
me.
going to be in Lake Como this weekend, next weekend.
Next weekend,
Can you
Lake
see?
Como.
Can you see?
Come and join us, Lake Como, next weekend.
Living her best life. This is what you need to be doing too.
It's a retreat.
It's a retreat, yeah. See ya.
Bye for now.